This episode of This Week in MMO is brought to you by Netflix. For a free 30-day trial, head on over to netflix.com/GameBreakerTV.
GameBreaker TV.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to This Week in MMO episode number 127 for December 28th, 2012. You're watching Game Breaker. I'm Gary Gannon, and today it's the in-between weeks, in between Christmas and New Year, so there's tons to talk about. Everybody's working. So much that we can't even do an intro. Let's get right into it. Joining me, of course, back from the sickness of dead. The sickness of dead.
I'm actually a zombie, so I'm still dead.
Hilary Nicole, a.k.a. Pocket, how are you?
Life is great. It's perfect. Everything's fine. I love life.
And joining us as well,
fake it.
You can't. Mr. Jason Winter, how are you, sir?
No, I just hate everybody.
All right. Good group today. And, of course, Mr. Mike B.
Hello.
Hi. Everybody's so cheery. Cheery. All right, let's talk. Let's start the show up. We got some news. We'll talk about it later. Who cares about news? Let's talk about 2013. Okay. I don't know. Let's talk about 2013 a little bit. We're in between the week. It's almost the new year. Let's kick it. Let's talk about EverQuest Next. What do you guys think? Any chance?
It's next.
Well, I don't think it is the next in line. You think they would change the name by now? What do you guys? You think we're going to see EverQuest Next in 2013? Though I don't know. I'm kind of thinking no.
No chance.
No chance. Zero chance.
No.
What do we know about like a screenshot and some of Smedley's ramblings?
I think we'll see a trailer.
That's really all we know.
Smedley's consistent ramblings.
Yes. Yeah, right.
He's very consistent in the message. But yeah, the screenshots are like even from I don't know what you've seen, but I can only remember the few pieces of artwork.
The one guy. Isn't this just the one guy with like the furry collar?
And we got
from
like
SOE Live, or no,
2 years ago, right?
Fanfare.
Last year's, Fanfare last year.
But it was like 2 ago. It was the one that you and I went to, right, Mike B?
Yeah, it was. It was like, screenshots, and that was it.
But at least we see with PlanetSide 2 how good that Forge Light engine looks, right? That's sort of something. If they have guys with guns and tanks and EverQuest.
Is that sarcasm? Like I'm trying to figure out, is that sarcasm? Because I think.
Well, no, I really mean that. I think we've seen from PlanetSide 2 that engine looks good, and they're going to use the same engine for EverQuest 2. So.
Yeah.
Nice.
We beat this up a little bit because character customization in PlanetSide 2 is definitely lacking. But it's something that I learned on After Dark. Thanks to Darnell, actually. The character movements are very, very responsive. So wherever your character is looking, everybody could see it. And so you imagine that you see all that stuff happening on such a grand scale. So I mean, they obviously have a good engine there, but the more the focus, because I guess probably the number of players that are going to be on screen at any given time and explosions and whatnot, they probably tone it down on like character individual customization. But obviously they have a good thing going with that particular engine. It looks really good, and just the responsiveness of the engine. If I look somewhere with a max, you could see that I'm actually looking in that direction. I can nod and do all that stuff.
You can do that in a lot of other games though, like DayZ and WarZ, and I always think it's great because I have a guildmate that actually planted a note, and it said "look up," and then when he saw the person look up, he'd shoot him in the face. It's like just stuff like that.
I wouldn't consider those MMOs though, right?
Maybe not MMOs because they're not thousands of people on the same server. But
I mean, like in DayZ with Armor 2 engine, like whenever you talk to the mic, the mouth moves, which is creepy, but it's awesome at the same time. And of course, what is it called for EverQuest, where they have the webcam? Yes, thank you. SOE mode.
Yes.
Where you can make your little frog dude like talk like a Battletoad. Like,
I think I think they're going to implement all that stuff into the EverQuest Next as well. And I'm sure we're going to have better customization in a straight up MMORPG, unlike PlanetSide. Yeah, I think all the animations need to be a little bit wooden and stuff. They are a little wooden in PlanetSide too, but they never bother me though. Like they don't really bother me.
For good reason.
Yeah, because it's like quick and responsive and it's twitchy and it doesn't really lag ever, which is like really what you want in that kind of game. But yeah, the engine looks awesome. That's what they're building EverQuest Next on. I wish we could get some more info on it. You think at least they'll open up the faucet on the marketing and PR in 2013? I say mid 2013 we should start getting some more info. I hope.
Well, you think they'd have to be the big thing that they show off at this year's live, at least. At least by then. What else are they going to have?
They're probably going to have a trailer, a cinematic trailer, I imagine. They're going to have like a
God, I hope
cinematic trailer. Everybody's going to be like, oh my god, this game looks so amazing.
What's up, guys? Smedley here, and we're going to... Alright, guys, it's good. Just take this, edit it, and put it out.
Oh, so harsh.
I'm gonna tweet it. What about Blizzard? What do you think about Titan? You think we might expect to see any
trailer
Titan action? You think we'll see at least a trailer in 2013?
I don't think we'll see a game.
What was the slate? What was the Mario? What was the slate? When was it slated for on that timeline we had?
Was it 2015?
15? Really? Is it that far out?
Was it 15? God, I hate to look at this thing because kittens are just dying left and right. Jesus.
Everything else on that list seemed to be right. By the way, did you guys hear that they pulled PvP from Diablo 3 pretty much?
Oh, like completely?
They just said, yeah, it's not working. So just, I don't know if it's like gone, like never
like
going
they
to
dumped it? Because, yeah, they showed it, but...
Yeah, no, like chat room, I'll watch chat room. They sort of dumped it. They just said like going back to the drawing board, it isn't fun. So it's like not really on the timeline of things to come out, which everybody's been waiting for.
They always said, though, I remember even at BlizzCon, they said that they weren't really focused
from the ground
on
up.
PvP.
There you go.
So,
But I think a lot of people were really looking forward to that. They were bummed when it didn't launch with it. Now it's like months and months and months after launch, and now it's just like, hey, we're going back and fully redesign it. Anyway.
No, Titan is the end of 2013. Okay, yeah. The end of 2014 was the Diablo 3 X2 expansion 2, whatever that is.
So wonder, I think we could act. No, you don't. No. You think they would have ramped up marketing?
Yet? Haven't shown us anything. I mean,
oh yeah, we won't get a launch on that for sure. They have to mention something though. They can't have a BlizzCon this year and not mention it. There's nothing else. What are they going to talk about? MOPS released, Diablo 3 an expansion, another class character or something. Like no, they have to do anything.
Like that would be the reason. Well, I think that. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. That was all I had, really.
Okay. No, I was just saying that I think that if they have BlizzCon this year, it will have Titan. Like, Titan will be the reason to go to BlizzCon. It will be to see some huge announcement. Otherwise, I don't think they'll have BlizzCon. I think they'll cancel BlizzCon again if Titan's not ready to be announced in any way, shape, or form. Even if it's just one pretty trailer. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I think 10 months or so is plenty of time to market the game if they actually started doing some release and some information early in the year. I guess I think we would have heard more about like some internal grumblings about alphas and stuff like that. I haven't heard anything. Like I haven't heard even like chatter about.
Yeah.
The last I heard was at E3, and it was like possibly what the art direction might be, but that's like nothing. I think if people were actually playing, friends and family, even we'd probably hear about it. So, but everything else on that list really stuck to the timeline so far, almost to the T, hasn't it? Which kind of says Blizzard isn't really one to maybe slip. I guess on a project like this, they get some more leeway though.
Yeah, they did do the the map market came out I think a little bit late, didn't it? For the third parties. I can't really comment on the BNet third parties thing if that's not what I was thinking of. They put out like a better map organization for StarCraft 2, but that's really specific. Yeah, I don't know. I can't really it doesn't. I don't want to look at this because now at this point, so many things could have changed from the time that they've released it to now. It's just this is just something they just put out, just like, oh hey, as of April 2nd, 2010, right, almost 2 years ago. Or I'm sorry, 2 years ago. This is where we're sitting. Yeah, I think it's kind of old now. Probably way off.
What month do they usually do BlizzCon again? I forget now that it's been like
October.
Almost 2 years. What is it? October?
Yeah, October.
Yeah, something like that.
It's after the last PAX, so.
What do you guys think about Elder Scrolls Online? 2013? 2013? I mean, ZeniMax are aiming for it. We know that. I don't think anybody would be shocked if it gets pushed back to 2014, but this might be the big MMO for 2013.
I think we'll get a beta in 2013, the end of 2013. I think we'll go into alpha or beta. I don't think it'll be released until the beginning of next year, though. Next year as in 2014.
I think this one's going to be 2013.
Are we gonna see another Elder Scrolls single player before then?
No.
No, they're like four. They go 3, 4, or 5 years between those.
Okay. I'm sure people will still be playing Skyrim.
Yeah,
like,
I was gonna say maybe it was more
so-
DLC or something, but I don't know. I think I think Testo is gonna make 2013. I think they're gonna make this because if you think about it, there's nothing else that we know of in 2013 slated for like the holiday season as far as a big MMO is concerned. Like if they at least unless Titan comes out in 2013 for Christmas, they don't have a whole lot of competition, which I'd want to pick that year because 2014. Now you may see Titan for sure, possibly. I don't know. 2013 seems like it'd be a really good year to put this game out.
I just worry that that it could be the case where it's just not gonna quite be done. But they've already announced it's gonna be out in 2013. So come hell or high water, they put it out, and then, it's just not done. It's not in an acceptable state.
P, what are you thinking of it so far? I mean, it's like they're being really vague with a lot of stuff, but from what you've seen.
Do they not want to go the SWTOR route and have like a PR campaign that lasts 28 months or whatever it was? Like, are they trying not to overhype it? Because I mean, Titan's gonna be a failure because it's not gonna live up to anybody's expectations, right? No matter what they do, it's just not gonna deliver to like the majority.
How can you say that?
Because of the hype machine. The hype machine is so unforgiving.
It's
gonna
true.
build, I'm telling you, it's gonna destroy it.
Everybody I completely agree. I think that there are so many games this year that just got overhyped. In the past year, I should say, that got overhyped. Star Wars being one of them. I even think Guild Wars was overhyped. And then they release, and people are like, "This wasn't what I expected, really." But then you have something like Rift, where Rift was the opposite. It wasn't overhyped, and whenever it was in beta, they started the word of mouth thing, and it started to get hyped while people were playing it, and it became huge in its own right. So,
I mean, Star Wars
companies, but
Star Wars definitely being the one that everybody's looking at as being overhyped because it's not really what. But I don't know. I don't think I can lump Guild Wars 2 in that. I mean, it was hyped beyond belief, but I think most people are really happy with Guild Wars 2. I mean, it's super solid. It didn't fall on its face like SWTOR did.
For a pay one-time game, then yeah, certainly. If it had a sub, though, it would have fallen just as hard as Star Wars, in my opinion. So I think that because it was essentially free after you paid for it, that's why people were like, whatever. So
yeah, I can buy into that.
That's a tough
call. I can buy into that. Yeah.
I don't know. That's a tough call. That's a really hard thing to say. There are plenty of people still playing Guild Wars 2 that are absolutely loving the game.
Well,
no. Her point was that her point is that if it was a sub-based game, it probably would not have done with the same level of hype. Probably wouldn't have delivered quite as much because people's expectations are going to be higher if they're paying money every month.
Yeah, maybe to some extent, but I don't see the problems with Guild Wars 2 that Star Wars has. Like Star Wars has so many blatant problems that you can just write an essay on. Like Guild Wars 2 doesn't really have that.
I could write a dissertation on problems in Guild Wars 2 as well. I love their exploration and their jump puzzles and stuff, but I was sorely disappointed with World v World and Dungeons. Like sorely disappointed. And
with SWTOR, it was they forgot all of the basics. It was like they had no idea what they were doing. Like you didn't have /roll. There was just so many things missing from the core of the game that just didn't quite. I mean, like the auction house was a complete mess. All of that stuff, the things that are considered kind of like core elements, those are all busted. I think a lot of that core stuff was fine in Guild Wars 2, totally. And Pac obviously has more experience playing it and everything than I do. So you should probably speak on that a bit more. But yeah, the problem with SWTOR was that it just didn't deliver on basic crap, and you had to pay for it every month. While they went through it, it's like, oh, these players want to /roll, they want to do this and that and whatever. I guess we should go ahead and put those in. All right, well, let's do that while they pay us every month.
It was obvious that even now, and I still rant about this in Game Face, about how marketing fails and they cater to the solo, single-player BioWare gamer. They don't actually cater to MMO gamers, and in my opinion, their PvP, instance PvP, and their PvE rating was much better than their leveling experience, even by a long shot. I got tired of leveling after the first character. I got tired while leveling the first character. And so that was where it was a huge disappointment, in my opinion, and failed, because they catered to the wrong people. So
I'm gonna pull it back to Tesso. Just how we started. Jason, you've been covering a lot of Elder Scrolls stuff on Game Breaker. I mean, what do you think of from what you've seen so far about the game? I mean, are you thinking it's shaping up to be the next big thing?
It's like I go back and forth. Every time they release a new piece of information, I'm like, this is the stupidest thing ever. And then they release the next bit, and I'm like, oh, that sounds incredible. But it's like, it's almost like I can flip a coin every time they put some bit of news out, and I'm like, I'm going to really love it, or I'm going to think it sounds awful. It's been so schizophrenic sometimes that I get hyped up for the game and think I can't wait, and then I worry about how it's going to do. And I think it's going to be. It's going to be like a lot of the previous games, like SWTOR or Guild Wars 2, where it's going to be such a divided community. There's going to be some set of people who still think that all they want is Skyrim online, and they're not going to get that, and they're going to hate everything about the game. And there are going to be other people who have accepted that it's not going to be just a Skyrim clone. It's going to be its own kind of MMO, and are going to kind of probably hopefully deal with that and be okay with it, and they'll hopefully like it. But it's going to inspire nerd rage to the nth degree.
What do you guys think?
I'm hoping that we don't lose some of this in translation here. We're not saying that Tesso is overhyped. We're saying that if they were to start promote PR stuff heavy now and not release in 2013, it could go the route of like we've seen. Like, SWTOR is probably the best example because it crashed like the hardest. Of something just basically having too much hype going into it and then just crashing.
It's not even hyped. It's not even hyped on their end. It's the fact that people right now, as soon as it was announced, people had expectations up to here.
Right.
They didn't have to say anything else about the game. They played Skyrim, and they have the hype of that, and that's what they thought it should
shouldn't
be.
we have that? I mean, if you're a high fantasy fan, they're pretty much, for most players, there is nothing better. Some will debate and say, Dark Souls and things like that. But at the same time, for high fantasy fans, I mean, like for a gamer, Skyrim is it. And if they have raised the bar that high, and that's sort of my next thing is I really wonder also how are the single player Skyrim fans going to take to it if they can, hopefully they're going to want to pull a lot of those people over into the MMO space now. And if it's not what this is the same thing that kind of like Star Wars had, right? It's like trying to pull the BioWare people over into an MMO, and then you pull them in and they're like maybe slightly confused by just what an MMO is and how it plays. And it's
that's exactly the point that I was trying to make with Star Wars and why it failed horribly is because I hope they don't market and I hope they don't make the game catering to single player. Otherwise, they should just make another game. Like, they should just make another Skyrim but better. They shouldn't make an MMO if that's what their intentions are. I really hope they make an MMO and with that environment. I don't know if I'm making sense with this. I'm trying to, but
I think what you're saying is you really want them to cater to actual hardcore like MMO players and stick to sort of the mechanics and the systems that we're somewhat used to some extent, and make sure that game is solid. I think the thing is that they really want to. I think all the game companies now, especially when they do crossovers like this, like SWTOR, Tesso, they want to elevate try and push the ceiling. They want to raise the roof, so to speak, and they want to get more players in that and expose them to something utilizing the franchise that have never played an MMO because they want that, sub fee or those microtransactions, however they're going to do it. But I don't know. But on the flips, I mean, we know they're not making Skyrim the MMO. We've seen, it looks like an MMO from what we've seen. I don't know. I've kind of always thought the opposite. I kind of actually thought that they should try and make it more like Skyrim and even go to like first person like mode. And they are going to have first person mode, but at the same time, I thought that would actually be smarter if they kept more tried and true to the Skyrim model than a straight up MMO model.
Sort of, but there's just things in that you can't translate over to an MMO in a single player game. And some people are just not, like I said, the people who've never played an MMO, they're just not going to get that. They're going to go, why can't I make this weapon that does 10,000 damage every time it hits? I did that in Skyrim. Why can't I?
Why can't I murder every single NPC?
Why do I have to run this dungeon more than once? What the heck is that?
I understand there has to be some things, but like I don't know. I guess what I was hoping. Why should we go down this road of what I was hoping for? I guess I'm thinking like I think a lot of players are hoping for and would have liked to seen sort of like a high fantasy FPS almost like Chivalry, in the Skyrim world, times 100 with all the backing of not an indie game and really like pull that through. Because I don't know if you
I
guys
believe
play
your
Chivalry.
exact quote was that you wanted to be ganked from behind.
Yes,
That's what you
I
said
did.
a long time ago. Yeah.
But Chivalry is kind of an example. Like, I don't know if you guys have played it, but it's tons of fun. I mean, it's like a first-person FPS game, but medieval fantasy, and it's like, well, they can do this. Like Skyrim could kind of do this. With, I don't know. It might be too jarring for single-player Skyrim fans to really get into MMOs. I don't know.
I can't see. Sorry, go ahead.
The Chivalry combat model would be amazing to see in a game like Skyrim. I just don't think that would translate to a lot of players. I don't know if they want to have to manage things to that degree. I think Dark Souls kind of came the closest to that, right? Wouldn't you say like Dark Souls kind of a close second to that action? Yeah, I think it would be amazing if they were to incorporate something like that. But could you imagine? I mean, like having hundreds of players or something like that, you would just get cleaved. Like by what? By I mean, just would you have an army of warriors in the back, just raining arrows to block out the sun? Really? It's like that would really happen.
That's a totally all-out open world PvP, like full loop PvP game. I mean, the bottom line is all the videos and the screenshots that we've seen of Tesso kind of look much more like a traditional MMO than they do Skyrim.
Mm-hmm.
From what I've seen of it, I certainly thought I got the MMO vibe. It looked like an MMO, and it looked like it worked like an MMO. As many people in chat are talking about right now, I really hope that it's because Elder Scrolls games typically you wander alone, obviously, because it's single player. But sort of the way you play your character is also sort of this loner feel. I play a stealthy thief assassin all by myself. Usually don't even have a companion with me. It's like that sort of play style is encouraged in a game like Skyrim. But in an MMO, I think that they should steer away from that and steer towards grouping and encouraging grouping with other players. That's what an MMO is all about. And like I said before Star Wars released, the reason I thought the whole story crap was going to fail is because I don't want a single player game in my MMO. I want an MMO in my MMO. It's like that's what I want, and
I want an MMO felt like, my MMO.
Yeah.
MMO.
You like MMOs?
By the way, yo, dog.
All right, let's move on to the next one. What do you guys think of WildStar? What about WildStar? They've been kind of quiet for a while. We haven't really heard much out of the WildStar camp. I don't know. I'm hoping Carbine takes his time. I'm slightly confused by WildStar, only in the sense of I'm not exactly sure who this game is for. I guess World of Warcraft players would be interested in it. Like when you're trying to segment the MMO genre down to slivers of types of players who would be interested, we start slicing and dicing the industry even more and more. But I've always thought that when I've seen what I've seen from Carbine, just it looks kind of cool, but it lacks a little bit of, it has a little bit of an identity crisis to me.
You mean like where visually it looks a little cartoony, but they're saying that they're marketing it to kind of the older crowd?
They're not really marketing it to the older crowd. That was a misconception that I think we had early on, that we kind of thought, I thought anyway, there's some early reports or rumors that the game was going to be like adult with like, we thought there might be like very adult sort of themes in the game, but it was going to look kind of cartoony. Apparently that's not true.
Okay.
I don't know. Like, I'm just trying to figure it out. It's like, it's very cartoony. It's like high fantasy. There's some like, I just don't know who. I'm trying to figure out the mindset of the player who's like super excited, right? Because usually, like, you see Skyrim, it's like, or Tesso, it's like, it's gritty, it's kind of photorealistic, it's got that feeling, like, players love that. I don't know. WildStar kind of falls to me a little bit in limbo visually.
I think girls will like it.
Why is that? Just from the visual appeal?
Girls, and I am generalizing horribly, and don't
careful.
Rip me to shreds on this, please. But it's true. I am someone who loves PvP and all that, but I don't mind. I don't sit there and go, oh, I need so much adult themes in my video games. If a game's good, I'll enjoy it, even if it's a kiddie game that... I mean, I still played Zelda on the DS and stuff. Obviously, I don't mind. Granted, there are some adult themes in Zelda, but yeah. I think I'll enjoy it. I think the action combat looks fun, and I think the player housing looks amazing. And of course I'm going to play it, regardless of if I don't like the graphics. I think from what I've seen, I'll actually enjoy it more than I do most MMOs I've played in the past year. So. And
what makes you feel that way? What have you seen that's kind of really sparked an interest?
They sort of had questing that was similar to Guild Wars 2, and about, going to areas, picking up quests. I think the crafting looks pretty amazing, or the different professions that you can get, and how you can unlock things, find certain hidden paths, and then how, if you're with a group of players, this is what encourages groups of players. If you're with a group of players and each one has a different profession, like one guy will unlock or find this cave, the other person will be able to mine the nodes, someone will be able to craft what they mine into something, and someone will be able to find hidden objects. It's like just stuff like that. It's like encouraging other people to be with you, and picking up quests, and then the combat, which is sort of actiony. I like that. Housing, housing needs to be in every game.
The housing looks awesome, and especially like if the speculations are correct that you can have PvP with the housing and fire on other people's little chunks of of earth. That would be awesome. B, what do you think? You've seen the videos and all that stuff on WildStar. What are you thinking of it?
I think it looks interesting. I think my biggest beef was the whole the fact that it puts down kind of a grid on where not to stand whenever a character does like some kind of move or something. So kind of eliminates that the person's ability to actually learn what things are doing by trial and error. In this case, it's just don't stand in this grid area or this cone or whatever. That was kind of like my biggest gripe with it. Regardless of if you turn it off, it's still kind of silly. But I mean, it's almost like, did we not see games going in this direction with how much more they're catering to probably some casuals? But it looks good.
I gotta interrupt because it's so funny because this is where you and I see it's totally different, because when I saw it at PAX, it was the one thing that actually made me go wow, that's kind of cool, because they had this I don't know, I guess they released it after the fact, but they got progressively more and more complicated. So it wasn't just as simple as, I know the first ones we saw were very simplistic, and it was like, cones, don't stand in the red cone.
Yeah.
But later on,
and I agreed with you. It's like if you get these really complex ones or something, or ones that maybe build and morph or something, I could see that being a little bit better. So now instead of looking at fire, you're just looking at a graphic, but it's a bit more complex. The cone thing and all that stuff, I was like, come on, we can see where the character's facing. We should be able to judge where he's swinging at. Let us kind of figure that out on our own.
But that was sort of the hook for me, to talk about, because I was just saying how I'm trying to, it's in limbo for me. That was the only one hook that I was like, oh, that kind of makes it a bit unique. It kind of maybe give me a reason to want to check it out and play it and see how that stuff works. And if it gets really complicated, with multiple people standing in the way, and because it starts doing cross patterns and they mix up, and there's a cone and then there's three that'll cross it, it really starts getting you're going to have to be probably dodging and jumping around and kind of really moving, a lot of movement, it looks like.
Yeah,
I think sorry.
I just gotta say that visually it looks great. I love the humor and kind of the character that they have with the videos, with the way they present it. I'm certain that's going to translate into the gameplay itself. We watched the housing video, and it was
a lot of personality.
It was amusing. It was a lot of personality, exactly. So I'm definitely interested in that and those characteristics of those features of the game. But yeah, I just want to wait to see more. We haven't really seen a lot of it. Obviously we know people that do stuff for them, but they don't talk to us about that, so we can't even get insider information on it. So yeah, let's wait till we see more.
I think that speaking with the reticles that they put on the ground and stuff, I think that if it's like Terra and how you can't run through other players, they're solid players, and you're in a group and you're fighting a boss, I think that it'll become really difficult, because then you'll have to depend on them to get out of your way as well. And that's sort of what you would face in Terra. If someone was in your way and you were trying to get away from the boss and you got stuck, well, then you're just kind of screwed for at least one hit if you didn't die. And how even Terra had indicators to where if the boss lit up a certain way or this happened, then you'd know to get out of the way or to move. And so I think that it can be difficult, because obviously in the beginning it's going to be easy, but yeah,
a tell is different. When a mob is gonna do a charge or something, and it gets a little glint in his eye or something as it rears up, and a charge is coming, you don't see on the floor exactly where that path is going to be. So what you would kind of judge as being, okay, I think I'm out of the way, and then you get smacked, it's okay, I'm not out of the way, and you learn, and then you know that later on where I need to actually move a bit further away from this character's path, or to avoid being stampeded. So that's a difference for me. It's I get that there's tells and all that stuff. I like tells. I'm okay with that. but I like there to be a little bit of a learning curve so I can understand the space around my character and just like how much depth that there is in terms of like my movement and everything.
What do you guys think? What do you guys think the market? I'm just thinking about this while we're talking about this, and I see there's a lot of talk and chat about casuals and stuff because B said the word casuals. Now the chat room just blows up about it. Am I crazy in thinking that there's got to be a market for just an insanely hard, high fantasy, Dark Souls-esque MMO? What if it's just brutal? Like, what if it's just brutal where it's just... I mean, it was funny because... I mean, Demon Souls was... I had trouble with it, and I'm struggling. I got to admit, I have not played Dark Souls because Demon Souls just weighed on me so bad. I think I'm going to buy Dark Souls. The next community Steam sale, it's coming up today in a few hours. They're voting on it. If they vote Dark Souls and it's on sale, I'm probably going to buy it because I like this 15-year-old kid this weekend that I just met. Like, you know, we were at Christmas dinner with some friends. We met some new friends. They had a 15-year-old kid, and he was a real big gamer. And I was like, "Oh, what's your favorite game?" And he's like, "Dark Souls, #1 game." And I was like, "Wow!" Like, it's like his favorite game. Like, they love it. Yeah. And I'm like, "Wow!" I wonder if is there enough of a market for an MMO? I mean, I think 500,000 players would play an MMO that was just brutal.
I think you get between 150 to 300,000 if you want to make an MMO that hardcore or that brutal. I think that there's a market for it, but I think that too many game companies come out thinking we don't want 100,000 to 300,000. We want 500 to 1 million, if not more than 1 million. Like, that's the problem with the market right now. Is so many games came out in the past year that they wanted to make a ton of money. And that's why they didn't cater to hardcore in any sense. And I would like to see that. I would play a game that was hardcore, even if I didn't play forever.
So
that's the exact point. The exact point is that you wouldn't play forever. You'd play for a month.
I won't play any game forever.
Well, but the point is, there was this great comic that I saw a while back. It was showed this guy. It showed inside of a game. It's like all the orcs are attacking us, attacking our castle, besieging us. What should we do? And he turns to his friend, and his friend isn't there. And it cuts to like some shot of a guy, middle-aged guy sitting at his computer, and his wife comes up behind and was like, "Hey, honey, want to go off and have like hour-long crazy sex?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." And that's the difference, is that the guy who wants to sit there and play the game for hours and hours and hours is more like that 15-year-old kid you're talking about, whereas that's just not the huge majority of MMO players or even of gamers anymore. It's a lot of 20, 30, 40-year-old people with wives, families, whatever. They can't play super hardcore games. Well, but you look at a game like Dark Souls. I mean, it sold really well. I mean, a lot of people played it, and it's on a lot of people's top list of game of the year and best game they've ever played. I mean, that says something. I think for a certain type of game that works out. I just don't think it really works for an MMO where you're going to have to be in it for months and months and years and years.
I know chat room's all blowing up saying Darkfall.
Yeah, that's PvP though. I think you're talking more like PvE, right?
Maybe a mixture, and I gotta agree. But like, I'm also talking about a company that kind of really, I hate this. I don't want to say does it right, but Darkfall's got some issues. Let's be honest. I mean, they got Unholy Wars coming out, and that was supposed to release, and then like, at the last second before the hour struck where the game was supposed to go live, they were like, "Oh, it's delayed. It's a mess over there." It's kind of the company seems a little bit shaky, and it's not, it doesn't seem like they have the backing and the kind of funds to really put together what I'm talking about putting together. I'm talking about like a full-on AAA like Dark Souls is a really well put together game. I agree, Jason, that I don't think it would be huge, but I don't necessarily know if besides Blizzard, I don't know what companies out there should be really going after these huge numbers anymore, and they should be totally fine with going after like 500,000 people in a Dark Souls-esque MMO would be enough.
I think we'd be surprised. I think that something like Ultima Online, it's still around with a sub. Everybody talks about all these new games going free to play after 3 months to a year. Ultima Online has been around since '97 and still has a sub. It's like, that's a hardcore PvP game. I played that for 7 years. I quit eventually because I moved on and wanted to try other things. It's like, but 7 years. Yes, it was like a horrible breakup. It was like losing an addiction. But I think that other games can cater to PvE and PvP, and I think we'd be surprised how successful they were. I think Eve's another example.
Ultima Online peaked at around 250,000 in July 2003. 2008 sent around 100,000 subscribers.
Yeah, I do see.
That's good for Ultima Online. Do you know how much it costs to make Ultima Online? Nothing.
Well, sure, but I mean, I think it refutes the notion that we can have. There's a big difference between the 400, 500,000 we're talking about and 100,000. You know.
I don't know. I think it could be pretty fairly successful. I mean, Dark Souls is a great example. I mean, because of the player versus environment thing, it's a lot about your skill and how you adapt. We see games like F2. We see a lot of these kind of like roguelike type of features coming and kind of merging with other. So like we see FTL is probably a good example. I'm playing right now called Don't Starve, where when you die, you kind of lose everything except for like your research points that you may build up. But even like Minecraft has like a hardcore mode that's fun, right? Because when you die, your world is over. I think that kind of that PvE, you die because you're an idiot or you're bad at the game. I think that's kind of picking up a bit more. We're seeing a lot of games that are coming out that are kind of following along those kind of semi-roguelike. Because the other half of roguelike is that everything's super random and you will die because the boss is on level 1. But I think that Dark Souls MMO could actually work. If done right, if it's all PvP based like Darkfall, I wouldn't see it really being as popular because I think we all know PvP is not as popular as PvE. But if they stick to the PvE element, they could definitely come up with something good.
I mean, I think, everybody to compete needs to have PvE and PvP at this point in the world. But, could you imagine if even at like level 1 you went in there and there was PvE elements of questing and, say boss fights that were just incredibly difficult where at level 1 you're having trouble with your friends? Like I know it sounds crazy because like we're so used to like just basically if you're at the right level, you're just going to like mow through everything and just like kind of do it. I think there could be a market for people really banging their head up against the wall and like actually, having trouble with the content. Because like I said, that franchise has hit more than one player's top game of the year, and from level 1 all the way through, that game is mind-numbingly hard, and it's just unforgiving.
I think that it would
you're like, I can't wait for go on sale.
Yeah,
I know. I can't wait to just stab myself in the face.
Did it make Game of the Year for critical acclaim or for sales?
Not sales, mostly critical acclaim.
Most not sales. There you go.
Oh yeah. No,
that's the thing, though. Too many people are thinking the Jason Winter point of view of we need to make sales, and it's like, no, we don't. You need to make a game that you can budget towards. You expect the worst, but hope for the best. It's like that's what you need to make a game towards. You can't be a BioWare where you expect the best and then the worst ends up happening. Oh, we expect 5 million subs, and they end up with 1, and it's like they didn't budget accordingly because of that. I think that's a failure of a lot of games. I think more games need to cater to just PvE or just PvP because I think then they'll be able to put their resources better towards those and not have to worry about the rest and then fail at PvP. But also, community is a huge thing in these games to make them successful. UO has a very strong and very hardcore niche community, and that's why it's still strong. And if they make the community strong and the means to find other people strong, I think that it will be fine.
All right, let's talk about the next game on the list. Let's talk about what's another one? Neverwinter. What do you guys think of Neverwinter? That should possibly be coming out in 2013. I don't know. Have we got an official date on that? I don't
How much have we seen of it?
Yeah, we did have a date, late 2012. That was what they originally announced.
All right, it slipped. I don't know. It's a game I'm looking forward to. I like what I've seen at some of the conventions, which is all I got to play through. Jason, you played it as well. What did you think of it?
Actually, I never got a chance to play it. I didn't actually get hands-on time. All what I did was a great look at the Dungeon Maker, the
Forge,
user-generated content tool, and that looks just amazing. I just want to play that. Like you said, you can make a level 1 character and just do nothing but UGC the whole time and get yourself up to 50 or whatever it is. And I might consider doing that just to see what kind of stuff people come up with.
Our producer thinks I'm crazy, but Neverwinter.
Okay, sorry.
Which is now Cryptic is now owned by Perfect World, and I've never been a huge fan of Cryptic games in general, just not a fan of the style. But I gotta say, I feel like there's a shift with how the game. Like Neverwinter's the first game that's really kind of, I don't know. I think it looks pretty good.
It's PvE, and they said no PvP until we release and we make money. Then we might put PvP in, but no, none until we're done. I played it. I'm gonna take this moment to brag for a second. I played it last year at E3, and I played the Trickster Rogue, and I did a boss fight with 2 other people that I worked with at MMORPG. They died almost immediately, and I soloed the boss. on a trickster rogue, I felt like I had effectively beat the game or broken the game.
We've all done that. They weakened the boss for press. Give me a break.
Whatever.
Just knocking it right down.
Tell that to people that played Star Wars. Man, they were terrible. Oh my gosh. I'd never felt so bad
How many
about
died twice? What are you talking
I think
about?
what proves that is that Hillary's the only real gamer at MMORPG. Those other people.
Oh, that's horrible. No. I love action combat, and that's what it is. And they did a good job. And the dungeons and the scenery look amazing. I am excited, and I don't even like PvE that much. So.
See, that's interesting. I'm surprised more games haven't done that, because it's like, you can have a game that comes up with just PvP, like, say, PlanetSide 2, and everyone thinks that's fine, but you hardly ever have a game that is just PvE, or just a very, very heavy focus on that and virtually nothing on PvP. People think that somehow there's something wrong with it if you don't have PvP, but I kind of like the notion that, because what the issue we always have is there's going to be some powers that are balanced in one but not in the other, and they got to have different rules, or they got to introduce something in the other, and I have no problem with them introducing a game that's just PvE, focusing entirely on that, not having to worry about balancing between the two types.
Isn't it just kind of like just a perception now in the MMO space that to create a AAA MMO, you have to have like these certain pillars, and PvE and PvP are the two things that you kind of really need to have? I mean, I remember like thinking back to when like Rift launched, right? Like they were marketing it and they were very PvE orientated. They had PvP, but they really weren't pushing it all that much. And then they got in there, and then PvPers got a hold of the Soul system, and they were like, holy crap, this is awesome. Like, I can create all these different combinations of things, and this is great. And I think it might have taken them a little bit by surprise of how many people actually love the PvP. And then you're all of a sudden like trying to, put more resources into that and bolster that up and really give it the love that it needs to. I agree. I mean, I think you could see games that are just PvE orientated where they just leave it off. It kind of scares me more when games come out strictly just one or the other and say that we're going to like add it on later. Like,
it's interesting now that I think about it. It's almost a cryptic thing, because City of Heroes had no PvP when it launched. Star Trek Online had this really crappy kind of PvP, but it was 90% PvE, so it's... I don't know if that's a thing that they do, or... I don't know what Champions Online is like. I've never tried it.
B, what do you think of Neverwinter?
I like the I guess the UGC portion of it, and I mean, I haven't had a chance to really see. Huh?
Do people realize, just people who don't understand what UGC is, explain?
User-generated content?
Yeah. So they have a whole system built in there where you can create your own content in the game, like a whole editor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, create your own dungeons and all that stuff. I see. I mean, we see it with like the Steam Workshop, right? It was just like endless amounts of content. Skyrim's a good example. Portal 2 is a great example. Obviously, Trials, a fantastic example. How user-generated content can really help you get your money's worth, because a lot of times players and other just people who are not making the game will make better elements for that game than the people who made the game. So that's the thing that I'm kind of looking forward to see how they kind of implement that, and they allow people to kind of go in there and create their own, whatever it is that they want to do. And then, of course, however it is, I think we talked about this before, how with any UGC market, how as long as they have a way that's easy to go through and see what's hot and what's not, I guess, then that could be a pretty successful element of this. That's what the whole point of the game is, right? I mean, I've never been a massive Neverwinter Nights fan, so I'm not really keen on how the whole thing works. But isn't the game kind of focused on? Huh?
The original Neverwinter Nights, yeah, the Neverwinter Nights RPGs had a lot of user-generated content.
Right, but there was a whole campaign that came with it. So you had like tons of PvE
content.
Well,
the same thing in Neverwinter too, yeah.
But it's trying to stick with the same, with basically D&D. It's like you'd buy the modules, the core books, you'd sit around with your buddies, you'd run a game of D&D, but eventually you'd outgrow that, and then a DM would step up, and somebody who was kind of creative would start writing their own adventures and that kind of thing. And that's what the idea of this is.
And that's what makes it great.
D&D. Yeah,
exactly. Endless content.
Pocket, you look like you were totally just. You were just.
I'm just enjoying the conversation. I just need some popcorn.
What about Fire? We got Firefall, Defiance, got Dust 514 on the shooter front. What do you guys? You find anything exciting about any of these?
Dust 514. I'm pissed off about it.
Why are you mad about it?
Because it's not on PC.
Oh yes, there's that.
All right.
But Firefall, I think it's enjoyable. I think it's improved over the past year. When I first played it, I was disappointed with the engineer class, and it's changed a lot, and it's still changing, and I think it'll be changing until release. But I enjoy that game. I don't play it as much as I play some other games at the moment, but there's so many games to play this year. Jeez. And then
I've played it a bit, and it's just like I do like something a lot about what they're doing there, but I can't exactly figure out what it is. For some reason, I think there's something, maybe it's with the new user experience of how when you first jump into it, there wasn't something that was super sticky to it about it for me that like makes me want to just jump back in and keep playing. And maybe it was just my first experience, whatever. And I've logged in a bunch of times and like everything seems solid. It seems like they still need to kind of, I think they're still working on their PvE gameplay, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're improving
apparently a mega patch or something that's supposed to come out and add a lot of PvE elements. I believe it hasn't already.
Right around PAX when they did that last major update where they increased the speed of movement and the jetpack stuff and all that kind of stuff, it made it a lot more fun.
Yeah,
like they just kind of sped the game up and just everything got faster and more twitchy, and that really worked. I don't know, any of this.
They need more invasions.
Yeah, I feel like on the PvE front with the invasion stuff, I just kept fighting a lot of the same little like crabby looking monsters and stuff. And I mean, like I said, I didn't progress that far into it to kind of see what else was out there, but it felt a little bit like on the PvE side, like I was doing the same thing over and over.
What about the crafting? I know that you were really huge on the crafting when we got the demo of that.
That's something that interests me a lot because it seems really granular and it reminds you a lot of Star Wars Galaxies. Everybody take a drink. No, I think a lot of crafters will love it because it seems to be like the nodes seem all procedural. They don't like stand in one spot. You got that thing that you drop down from the sky to mine nodes and stuff like that. But then there's also different grades of all the materials that you can get. So like just say I don't know, blue crystal, you could get like a 60%, 70%, 80%. So for crafters who want to create like awesome uber weapons, they're gonna have to find like 100% pureness on like all the different types of components that they're gonna need, which is gonna make crafters really super valuable in that game, which again I think is great I think it helps create community.
We haven't even seen I think Dust 514 is definitely going to be coming this next year, but we really haven't seen anything because everyone that's playing it can't really talk about it because there's an NDA up. We know that they just released Chromosome, which happened just about a week ago, and Chromosome, one of the biggest things they added was I guess the ability to communicate with players in the EVE Online universe test servers to actually coordinate the bombardments that they demonstrated before during, I don't remember what it was where they demonstrated a couple bombardments there, but that's supposedly integrated now or in a testing phase now. But yeah, it sucks that the people that are playing it can't really talk about it to any extent. So, I still think that there's no way that this game's going to be in beta and not launch like in 2013. It's going to happen.
I think it'll be late 2013. I think you're going to see it very late.
Really?
Yeah, I think you're going to push it back. I think you're going to hear an announcement. They're going to push Dust back to late, maybe Christmas season, which I think is good because I only got to see it at E3 and I was not insanely impressed by what I saw at E3. Anything else? How about Bless? You guys know anything about Bless? I don't know a whole heck of a lot of
the really pretty crazy action
from NeoWiz. Yeah, it's from NeoWiz, and I've heard some people who've played it, and they just said it's Scott Hawks from Zam played it, and he basically said, maybe I shouldn't have said that, I don't know, but he
there we go.
No, he was raving about it and saying no, it's got so many different components and elements of all the types of games that we really love with just great dynamic questing and good PvP, and like he was really really impressed. We haven't heard too much about it except we saw the trailer not too long ago, which looks gorgeous. I don't know, that's like one of the Asian MMOs that I'm definitely looking forward to checking out.
Oh wow, I'm looking at screenshots of it. It's really pretty. Sorry.
It's great, right? It looks crazy.
Told you.
I just remain permanently skeptical about a Korean MMO coming over to North America because they've just never really worked. Talk about things that have expectations that are never met.
Age of Wushu, Blade and Soul. There you go. There's two.
That is
Go.
more like
Chat room's now happy. At least you mentioned them.
I know, Blade and Soul.
Let me just mention Final Fantasy XIV Realm Reborn, and then we'll be safe.
Oh, I'm excited about that. I'm excited about it. I'm not gonna lie.
What's
I'm
going
looking
on?
forward to DayZ Standalone like that guy.
Yes.
When is that specifically? Have we got? Is that early 2013? Has Rocket come out and said anything official?
Well, it's not going to happen within the next 3 days, so
that's for sure.
Yeah, didn't he write something up basically, whether it be a cryptic, semi-cryptic tweet or maybe a write-up, but I did get the impression that he's going to push it off until it's done, it's ready, and which is the right thing to do. I think to come out and say, oh, you're releasing something before the end of 2012, I think we all kind of called BS on that. It's not going to happen. Rocket, he's not necessarily a big dev house, right? He was a guy with a vision on something that works and people really relate to. Obviously, his vision on what a timeline should be is a little skewed, but yeah, he says the games will come out when it's ready, which is great because we all have DayZ to play in the meantime.
Don't you think at this point that they kind of have? I mean, I know they've got still the situation going on with the two Bohemia Interactive guys in Greece who are still being jailed, but don't you think at this point like DayZ should have proper funding and resources? And I don't know. I wonder if the whole DayZ thing is slightly a little bit of marketing. Oh, it's this tiny little thing that's off on the side. I don't know. I feel like there's just like a room full of coders, like 300 people like working on making it just as like this awesome product. Well, here's the thing. Like, so Bohemia Interactive, like they sold more copies of DayZ than they ever even have of Arma. So like that bolster just says, wouldn't you just shift everything you have and all your resources? Be like, go. This is obviously what people want. Like, make this work. I can't imagine this is not like, I don't think Rocket's putting on like, the green screen ball suit to do like motion capture anymore. I'm sure they've got money to hire those people and get this stuff done.
Well, we're seeing, thanks to the DayZ, we're seeing other elements of Arma 2 being actually used and played, and they're kind of starting to come up. So I think people are seeing that Arma 2 as a platform is actually kind of it's a fun game, and to I guess go through a mod and to play whatever various pre-existing gameplay modes that are in it. With Arma 3 coming out, people will just look at it probably again like, oh, hey, here's like Half-Life or something. They look at this like, oh, hey, here's a platform we could go and we could basically build off of to create all this cool stuff. And that's what they're going to go with. They're going to look at, oh yeah, we have DayZ. Look how successful that is, and they're just kind of go and build off of it. So I think that Arma. Are you saying like they're going to shift all production to DayZ and leave and forget about Arma 3? Or
I think they should
are you saying
forget
that
about it? I'm just saying I would definitely be pushing a lot of my resources over to the DayZ team of just making sure that standalone comes out. Because I think what DayZ lacks right now, I don't know, some of you guys agree, but it needs more metagame. Like it needs some bigger picture stuff to do. I feel like everybody who played it
It's
loved
questing.
It needs something
Wait,
bigger.
Wait, what needs what?
She said it needs questing.
It needs guys with
She's
exclamation
being-
points. over there.
she wants hate.
Exclamation point.
She wants sarcasm. You gotta, you're gonna get hate mail for that. No, but doesn't it needs metagame, right? It needs bigger picture stuff. Like it's once you got all the guns and you fixed the helicopter and everything else, you kind of felt like you beat the game and you were like, all right, now what? And now everybody kind of put it on the side waiting for new stuff. You need some sort. I mean, all the stuff he's been talking about, the player grounds, underground player cities and forts and building stuff. I mean, if it doesn't come, achievements, of course, unlocks,
Player
titles,
housing.
player housing, raids. Let's not forget about raids. Needs raids.
Like he's in pain right now.
Dailies. It needs dailies. Don't forget about dailies. No, but if DayZ Standalone launches strictly as just DayZ Standalone with what we know DayZ is right now with no additions to it, will it do you think that's enough? I think it needs a lot. I think it needs to actually launch with a lot more than what we're used to.
If they got rid of the hacking, they've probably gotten better since the last time I played, but what made me quit is Thunderdome, and Thunderdome happening every time I went on a server. I'm just like, dang it, come on. I just got on here. Do you know what Thunderdome is?
I saw it on my list that one time I had to use the hack to do something awesome. I made sure not to hit that button. I was told specifically, do not activate this.
It's when it pulls everybody on the server together and they just start shooting everybody.
Oh,
And then,
Jesus.
or the one where they fly everybody into the air, so you just go like 1,000 feet into the air and slowly fall. But if you logged out right before you hit the ground, you could log back in and only get broken legs.
Oh, sweet! I only get broken legs. What a great. I think no matter what, there's gonna be hacking in like any of these.
Oh no, I know. I'm just saying, get rid of the stuff that was game breaking for me. That was something that made me I'm done logging in. I'm tired of this. So.
Right. Yeah. At least remedy some of the hacking. Fix the server boss. stuff like that. Yeah, that's those are the things that were definitely killjoys. It's like, well, log into the server, I'm gonna go take a nap. I'll be back when I'm in.
I
Yeah.
just tried to watch you guys mess with your inventory, and that was enough for me to not want to play.
Oh, you don't
Yeah,
like that?
You don't like inventory? Inventory.
Oh, put it in the wrong spot.
Yeah, inventory is a little bit of a pain in the butt.
He knows.
He knows. Shoot my leg. Break my legs again, phony.
They can't change inventory. That was like a game. It was like a mini game. Like, oh.
They have to change inventory.
They have to change that. It's so damn annoying. We need the quality of life, please. All right, really quickly, I want to tell you guys, if you guys check this out, Rift Storm Legion was announced the best expansion of 2012 by both Massively and Zam. Best expansion of 2012 by Massively and Zam. They still got some subscriber bonuses going on until the 1st. You got some time left on that. And I was going to play Tuesday's Top Dimensions piece for you guys today, but the video is glitching out on me. But if you guys have not seen it, I've been doing this Tuesday's Top Dimensions where I go in and profile 2 dimensions, which is the player housing and Rift. And we put them up on Gamebreaker TV, and this week's is incredible. I wish I could show this to you. Let me see. Wait, maybe I can. Hang on. Let's just do this live.
Yes.
I'll bring it up on the screen. I'll do a screen cap.
Does it have your yo voice? Your
No,
dino voice?
no, it's not that one. I didn't do the Rift Cribs thing. It's let's see if this works. Let's see if this works. Does this work? Let's see. Will it donkey?
That's a good one. Play that.
This player. All right, it's working. I could do this. Even though it looks bad. Let me scroll down here. Drop by and check it out. There's so much. All right, Swotor. See ya. Where is it? This person. First of all, look at this place.
Wow.
Wait. Let me just pause that. Look at this funhouse. Look at that. I don't even know how they built some of this stuff. They built like a crazy lizard man with a helmet and eyes, and they took the guns and they used the.
If anybody's played Lego Universe, this is where all those refugees came from. All those people stranded when the game went offline. They're here in Dimensions.
So they built an entire funhouse as well. There's some stuff. There's a bowling alley.
That is amazing.
Oh, jeez.
Pool table. Full on pool. Built the whole pool table. This is you know when you go to like the to like a carnival or something, or they got the glass box and you put money in, and it's got the claw, and you try and grab like the one expensive thing out, like the PSP. Right. That's what this is. They built that. Those are all the toys you can win, and here's the claw. Now wait, this gets even crazier because then they built this. They built a slide. You had to climb all the way up this thing. It was insane. And there's a chute. And I will eventually jump down. And look at this.
Jeez.
All the way down into a plunge pool.
Oh.
Wow.
So
and this is why you
awesome.
add player housing.
This
Spend
is
all the
why
time.
you add player housing, because it's that much fun.
Not to make houses.
I've been talking about it for weeks. Yeah, exactly.
Huge time sink.
This is why
It
there's
is.
less content on the site these days, because Gary's doing this all day instead of putting stuff on the site.
That's really what it is. Go over to riftgame.com right now. Pick up Storm Legion. MMORPG says Storm Legion is a winner. 10-ton Hammer says there's no shortage of bang for your buck. There is. There's so much content packed into this expansion. It's crazy. It's mind-boggling. Dimensions are just one facet of it, and they are super fun. Head on over to riftgame.com. I think last up today, we're just going to cut everything else out of the show. We have an award show going on tonight. Don't miss that. So if you're watching this live, it's kicking off at 8 Pacific. If not, we will put the video up on GameBreaker very soon after. I don't know. Should we give away some of our stuff about top game? Should we talk about top MMO?
No, don't give away that. Then what's the point of watching the show?
All right, phony.
Keep them in suspense.
All right.
It's not trials. Nobody cares.
What else happened this week? I said we were going to talk about news. Yeah, I'll tell you. So like Terra's going.
Let's talk about WarZ.
WarZ's losing their name probably, and Terra's going free to play in Japan, and Mike B aka Phony, follow on Twitter at AKA Mike B. Do that.
Zoom
Do
in.
that.
Zoom in.
Oh yeah.
No, go back to him. I'm Zoom.
There we go. I want to zoom.
Nice pores.
Jason Winter, follow him on Twitter at Winter Informal. And of course, come over to GameBreaker.tv and read all his amazing work right here on GameBreaker.tv. That's at Winter Informal. Maze Balls.
Change your
And
life. Change your life.
Hilary Nicole, aka Pocket. Follow her on Twitter at Pocket Says. Go over to her YouTube channel, which is
Pocket Productions.
Pocket Productions.
So much enthusiasm.
On my website, pocket.tv.
Okay.
You can follow me at GameBreaker, Gary Gannon. You can follow GameBreaker TV at GameBreaker TV. And don't forget about the award show tonight. Have a great, safe, Happy New Year. Don't drink too much. Don't puke in a plant.
What? That's just wrong.
That is wrong. Are people
Puke on someone's lap. Save a plant.
Yeah, don't puke in a plant. Have a great week. Have a great holiday, guys. We'll see you next week for more TWIMMO.
Just make sure you puke.